Hi, today we are going to be making a Frank Stella work. And Frank Stella was awesome because he just loved to work with geometric shapes. And he also was all about color theory. So in his work, he always focused on gradual changes between colors or colors that were next to each other. He really found it fascinating to see how it would look with one color next to another and how that made you feel when you looked at his work. All right, so we're going to start out with, we got to need a pencil, a ruler, our wonderful sliding compass, watercolor, and washi tape, or just tape for the edges of paper. I am going to make sure my pencil's sharp because with the sliding compass, it makes it a little easier. Oh, and if you have a Sharpie, bring out a Sharpie as well, because and I think you guys have those in the kit. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and tape the corners down. You might not be able to get to the Sharpie part so fast, but you can try. Let's see, here we go. It might have to be the next day, unless you're a fast painter. So I just paint the edges so that my paper, it makes a really pretty frame on the paper. And I'm going to go ahead and get started. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to grab my ruler, and I can lay it down any way I want. I could have just gone and just said, okay, that's the way I want it. Or I could go that way. I could go across the paper, maybe a little slanted. I like just a little slanted. If I do it down here, my design's only going to be right here. So I want to kind of balance out my work. So I'm going to kind of go a little midway, and I did it softly on there. All right, next thing I'm going to grab is my sliding compass. Now we're going to be making, you can either make a full circle, you can make a half of a circle, like this, and you can do some overlapping lines. You can have a lot more fun doing some mixing. On this piece, I did the circle in the middle and put the two sides. But I almost, you can do whatever you like, whichever you decide. So I'm going to put my sliding compass with my pointer right on the line if I can see it. And I'm going to start out with my ruler all the way down to the 1/2 inch right here. All the way down. The compass is slid all the way down. We're going to be doing our piece in increments of 1/2 inch. Oops, I got to make sure all my supplies are out of the way so they don't bonk it. And if I went over my line a little bit, that's okay. I can go in and erase. Now I'm going to move up to an inch because I'm going to do 1/2 inch increments. So now my pointer's pointing to 1. Now sometimes it's hard to see where you start, so I like to put a little dot. Now I can see my line in there, and I'm going to do a 1/2 circle. There we go. So we're moving up 1/2 inch increments. So I had 1/2 inch, 1 inch, and I have to move 1 1/2. So halfway between 1 and 2, and lock it into place. It doesn't want to lock it in place. There we go. I'm going to put on my little dot in there that I can see through my little window. It's very hard to see. And then I'm going to just do a 1/2 circle. Now I'm going to move up my ruler to 2 inches. And did you see how I didn't move it? I actually kept it in the same spot. Now I'm going to move from 2 to 2 1/2. That's between 2 and 3. And I did it without lifting my finger again. I'm talented like that. You know what? I'm going to do it a big circle. So now I'm moving it up to 3. And I made a big circle. Okay, so now I want to do maybe like some halves in there. I could also put a ruler down and do another line and do a circle over here if you wanted to. You can crisscross, do it over there, but I think I'm just going to stick to, I'm going to make a line for myself. I'm going to put it here so I make sure it overlaps. I'm going to make a full circle. I'm going to start with my my ruler all the way to the end, my sliding compass, I always say and I'm going to do my circle. Oh, caught on my tape there. There we go. You notice how I didn't lift my finger because I didn't want to try to find it. Ooh. I am really, you guys might want to put your tape down really tight so it doesn't hit it. Going up another increment of a 1/2 inch. I'm going to 2 inches. I think I'm going to go all the way to 2.5 on this one. There we go. So see how this is all overlapping in here? And I'm going to do, maybe I'm going to do a little one right down here. Maybe a little circle. And that one doesn't have to overlap. Or I could do it like a, go all the way down. I'm going to start right here. I'm only going to do a half circle here. Oh, look what I did. I lined it up with that. Ooh, that looks cool. Sorry. I got excited. So now, actually, that would be a cool idea is to start from a line. So now I go do an inch. And this one is a little harder because of my hand. Ooh, am I matching up with that? Oh, but now that circle ended, so that's kind of cool too. Let's see, here we go. I moved up a 1/2 inch. Oh, this is going to make a neat pattern. Doesn't want to go onto 2. Gotta be gentle. There we go. It almost slipped out of that little circle. Do you see how it kind of went out there? Gotta go. See how it kind of didn't match up, but I'll make that match up when I do my... Now we can do this before we do our watercolor. Might be nice to kind of see how that works, or we can do it after our watercolor dries. So I feel like, see how I use my ruler again? Because you know what would happen if I didn't use my ruler? Yep, you know. All right, I'll be right back. I'm going to outline all these lines, take my time, so I don't, you know, make mistakes. All right, I'm all done tracing. And you know what? When I finished tracing, I decided to add one more circle. I was like, it needs a little something over there. You could even add like a little circle or a bubble over here, but I think it's fine. So the next thing, I don't have the fancy one that you guys have, but I like to, on one like this, I would use a paintbrush that is about this thick. That way so you can cover a lot of ground. And then I would also use this one right here. So I'd use these 2 paintbrushes because we want to cover a lot of area here. And I'm going to go ahead and start. So what I like to do is I like to grab, I'm going to do orange first. I like to mix it in there. And then I'm going to add it here. And I always call these my wells. So then I can grab from them. And I'm going to water this one down a little more because I don't want a really strong color. And I'm going to fill this top area. See how nice it is to do with the big brush? See how I can cover a lot of ground? And I kept a lot of paint in my well, but I could mix. If I needed more, I could mix a little more, try to make the same color, or I should say value, same value, so it's like not so heavy. There we go. Ooh, fun. Okay, so I got that covered up. Now I think I'm going to add a little orange here, so I might as well just use this orange. And I'm going to, see how it got lighter right there? Now I'm going to take a little from here, and I'm going to make my outer ring dark. This one just a little lighter. That one just a little bit lighter. Now, another thing, too, is good to have on the side is a little paper napkin. So say that I think this is too dark for me. So I'm going to grab my paper napkin. I'm going to wad it up. And do you see how I just did that? And I lifted up some color. All right. Can also use this to soak up my well, because I don't think I'm going to use orange again. Just watch. I'm going to use orange again. Then I'm going to use my big paintbrush, and I'm going to use green. I chose green for my other side of my paper. You have to carry it down there. Sometimes it's easy to use this side of that too. There we go. Okay. Ooh, yeah, that's good. Nice and light, not too heavy. I could make it really dark, and that's okay. But you see how I push the paint around too? I don't push down like directly on the paintbrush. And I go around the edges right there. think I'm running out of paint in my well. I might have to add a little more. I think I might have enough. Look at that. Woohoo! Now see this one, I could have maybe waited a little bit longer because this orange is trying to bleed into that one. Which is fine, I just have to be careful with it. This one's getting a little more dry, so it probably won't go in there. I'm going to use my other paintbrush. And I'm going to grab some blue. I don't know about you guys, but I like blue. And I'm going to start out dark. There we go. And so if you notice, I kind of went back to my well. All right, now I'm going to go ahead, see I left that there? I'm going to get some water. And I'm going to put water directly on that paint. See how it covered everything? But what's our trick is to get a napkin and blot it. There you go. See? See how it got lighter in there? And I can even rub it a little bit. There we go. Perfect. Oh, I'm so perfect. Just kidding. I didn't see that. And now I want to put some purple in this last ring. I'm going to change it up. Just add a little. I didn't put that one in the well, but that's okay. Just to make it a little darker. This one too. I like it to have the values changing gradually through there. But you know, Frank Stella did some funny stuff. Frank Stella would randomly put, he would put like a green right here. Like what? Like why would you do that? Okay, so he would do random colors too. It wouldn't matter. Oh, you know what? So I have green next to green. Is that okay? Sure. Oops, see what I just did? I double dipped in my yellow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch this one. And I'm going to use my eraser trick. I'm going to try a little bit and then let's see if I can change this color. Oh yeah. Nice and limey. Ooh, that actually worked out okay. See, mistakes aren't so bad, huh? I'm going to wrap that yellow around. I like it. It's kind of an odd yellow. All right. What do you guys think? Should I put green over there? I think I should. Now, the one thing is that we're going to do is we are going to try to overlap our colors a little bit. And when you have pieces like this, you want to make sure you let it dry first before we attempt to do the main color. This orange feels like it's ready to dry, so I'll show you guys how to do that. And this one, I'm going to do the opposite what I've been doing with you know how I made the dark on the outside? I'm going to make the inside a little darker. Give me a little bit of black. Ooh, yeah. There we go. Okay. Cool. So now, I'm going to go ahead and overlap that red a little bit. And I'm just going to take it. Let's see if I watered it down enough. And I'm going to overlap that one. See how that does that. So then it changed those two colors so you have an orangish red. And when we do this, we haven't overlapped the blue and green, but we can do that next. I think it might be too early to do it, but we can give it a try. Yeah, it kind of turned brownish. Looks cool. Okay, so we are all done. We can let our painting dry. We can go clean up while we let our painting dry. Or we can go ahead and take the tape off a little early. Most of the time it's best just to let it be and let it dry. And sometimes people like to let it dry between stages, like the overlapping, because it can bleed into your next color. See, like it's bleeding over there? So I could go ahead and I just grabbed my paintbrush. It's a little wet and I cleaned it up. That's the cool thing about watercolor.